Hi, my name is Antonis and I'm an iconographer and a painter. Today I will share with you my process on drawing my nephew, and if you are interested in drawing, stay with me on this video. I'll try to thoroughly explain this process and as best I can. Now, as you see, the first thing I'm doing is transferring these basic measurements of the head, the length of the head and the width of the head on my piece of paper, and then drawing this very basic egg-like shape, just to have a general idea of where the head will be on my piece of paper. Composition is something very important, and I will have to make a video about composition. So here in this case, when you have to just draw or paint a portrait, it's easier to place the head in the middle or in 3/4 of the paper. It's easier anyway to find the composition when you just have to paint one person. So after I've found my basic shape, the egg-like shape, I will try to then analyze the photograph that I'm seeing, the head that I want to draw, into more general shapes. I will see, for example, what is the shape of the forehead, what is the shape of the hair, etc. And I will try to very generally transfer these on my paper. Now, as you see, I'm using this compass as a tool to find specifically where my nose will begin, where the forehead will begin, etc. This is something very easy, especially when you draw out of a printed piece of paper, a photograph. It's very easy, and more easy when this photograph is the same size as your drawing. When you decide that your drawing will be the same size as the printed photograph that you want to draw. Now, if you want to draw using a smaller photograph, you can use again the compass, but every time you will have to adjust, let's say, the size of the compass on your piece of paper. If, for example, you want to draw something that will be double the size of your photograph, if the length of the nose is A, for example, the length of the nose on your piece of paper should be 2 A's. I hope this makes sense. So back in the description of my process, very loosely, very relaxed, I will start by placing some features into this shape without having any stress about being correct or not being correct. I will just place these features without expecting at this point that there will be any resemblance to my photograph. So I'm just using very loosely my pencil to explore, let's say, and try to see, try to proceed with this drawing. The thing is here that the pencil, well, at this point my preoccupation is always to see shapes, to try to see not features, I'm not drawing cheeks here. I'm not drawing eyes. I just try to see shapes. What is the shape on the whites of the eyes? What is the shape of the iris? Is the iris a complete sphere? Where is the iris cut by the eyelids? What is left to be seen? What is the shape of the eyelid? What is the shape of the opening of the mouth? So what I'm doing here is at this point trying to analyze the face into shapes, and although it's not as fun as painting features, painting eyes, painting shapes is more useful because it will allow you to draw things more correctly. If I tell you to, if I show you a circle and tell you to copy the circle, then you will copy a circle. It's easy. Then if I tell you to copy a square, you will copy a square. That's easy. Then shapes on the face are not as simple as squares and circles, but still they are shapes. So if you try and see shapes instead of features, then it's going to be much easier for you. Here, for example, on the eye, you see that I did a little correction. I drew the iris a little bit to the left, because I saw that the shape of the white of the eye should be a little bit bigger on the right side of the iris. I know that language is a barrier, and those of you who are still here are maybe struggling to understand what I'm talking about, but it's I want to stress how important it is for somebody who draws to stop viewing a head, a face, and seeing features, and start seeing shapes. What is the shape that is formed between the eyebrows and the eyelids? What is the shape that is formed above the upper lip and the nose? Just make these comparisons, and you will see that your drawing will be vastly improved. Now, at the same time, I will use my pencil to place some shadows, some tones in the head. Sometimes when I'm drawing, I feel that the pencil is just a part of my brain, is not just a tool, but it's really, really part of my body, let's say, and it just does anything I want by telepathy, let's say. It obeys me very, very much. That's why I believe that in drawing, just a simple pencil is really a magic tool. A simple, in this case, 8B pencil, a very soft pencil, is really, really magic, because sometimes it just does things by itself. I feel of course it's not by itself, but it can really amaze me how this simple one tool can do so many things. Of course, you have to be very experienced and know how this tool behaves. You have to spend time with a pencil, know how much pressure to apply, know how this pressure, what impact this pressure will have on your drawing. And of course, it's all matter of practice. The more you practice, the more this tool will become magic, let's say, and will do things that they will feel as if they will be done by themselves. Just I'm applying very little pressure sometimes, and I'm saying that okay, I will just apply a little pressure and see how it goes. And then automatically something happens, and things just appear on my drawing. I talked earlier about comparing shapes in order to find the correct placement of the features, the correct shapes of the head, etc. So doing shapes comparison is very, very important. You will also have to do now shadows and tones comparison. Here, when we draw with just the use of the pencil, we don't have the ability to apply lights. We just have to shadow things and let the light shine through the paper, through the white of the paper. So you have to slowly, gradually go darker, and like in water paint, gradually darken your darken the areas that need to be dark, and you will also have here to compare and see what things need to be darker than others. It's very important. For example, as I said, we don't have the ability to apply white. So if I check my photograph here, I will see that the whiter part of the photograph, let's say here, is the white of the eyes. That will be my widest part. That means that I will have to darken everything else except the white of the eyes, along with some reflections on the ear, the cheeks, the forehead. Yes. But I will have to make sure that in general the skin is much darker. There will be a layer of graphite in almost all the area of the flesh, except maybe for the eyes. Although also there I might apply a layer of graphite. So try to see the drawing as layers of graphite. Each layer might be a little bit darker than the previous one, and don't be afraid to really darken the skin, to really darken your drawing, since this will give you the illusion of light on your drawing. There is no light if there is no shadow. The contrast is what's revealing the light. Generally, I see my students being afraid to draw or paint shadows. They believe that shadow destroys the drawing or the painting, and there is a fear of darkening things. But in reality, shadows is what's revealing the three dimensions of what we draw, and really brings life and volume on our work. I try to not use my fingers or a lot of eraser, just gradually going darker, gradually proceeding with this drawing. And as you see, it already appears. So at this point, I have established some resemblance. I've established some the correct lengths and placement of features on my drawing, and now it's just a matter of really making this drawing more rich by correcting the values on this drawing, how things are dark in comparison to the lights, and I will do this by little darkening my areas. Of course, this is just if you are interested in having this ultra realistic drawing. If you are interested in something more, let's say, abstract, you can, yes, the process is different. It depends on your creative mode and desire. I really like when drawing people I love because and people I know because I think of them while I'm drawing them, and this gives me a connection to these people. And also I've noticed that when I'm drawing people that I don't know, I make stories about them, and somehow I feel the connection. And it's strange that sometimes while I'm painting or drawing some portraits, stories will pop up in my head about them, even though these stories might not be true. I sometimes check and ask their relatives or themselves if a story that popped up in my head is true. And Anyway, this while I'm drawing, I do create a connection with the person I'm drawing, and that's really nice for me. Of course, here with my nephew, I didn't have I didn't need to create a connection. The connection is already there, and I believe that this connection seeps through this drawing and makes it more maybe warm, more interesting. I don't know. So anyway, little by little, as you see, I proceed with darkening and correcting, let's say, comparing and correcting the values on the shapes of this drawing. As you see here, I will almost darken all skin, as I believe that there is not a completely white area on the skin. Everything is darker than my lightest part, which is the white of the eyes. So there should be everywhere a layer of graphite on the face. Maybe I will keep some white of the paper untouched on the forehead, just a little bit. But apart from that, everything else should be in under a layer of graphite, at least a layer of graphite, just to give the richness of the values. So I hope you understand the enjoyment, the pleasure I get from using this tool. I'm always in favor of simplicity and keeping things simple, or trying to squeeze the best out of a situation, a tool. So using this pencil and squeezing, like say, the abilities of the pencil really is satisfying to me, really gives me joy and pleasure. Try to explore your pencil and yeah, understand that we don't need always fancy tools. Of course, we need tools that will help us, but sometimes a simple tool can do the job. I really consider this as a magic instrument, just because sometimes the sensation, as I said earlier, is so strange. It's like part of my brain, not just a tool. It becomes something that moves by itself, by telekinesis. I don't know. Very, it's very interesting. I also love how when we draw, I always, as I said, start by applying very little pressure on the pencil, and then the pencil just by itself will do the rest, as if it knows where to add more pressure, where to add less pressure, the quality of the lines. It's a really, really interesting instrument. As you see, little by little, this portrait comes to its completion. I really like this drawing, and I believe the character of my nephew has popped up. His happy character is on the drawing. So yes, very. I'm happy with the result. I do offer one-to-one lessons. You can find me. I will have a link on my email account on the description below if you are interested in online lessons on drawing or painting or iconography. I adjust my lessons according to the needs of each student. You can find some information. You can email me and I will give you the information. So I will just say that by concluding this video, that just make sure that you see things as shapes more than features. Then try to compare the shapes and try to compare the shadows, how dark something is in comparison to something else. And then third, I would say know your tool of drawing, know how your pencil behaves. Keep drawing, keep being busy and creative, and the more you practice, the more you will see that things get easier. um, I see many students that they try to define everything, and they don't let the pencil seep within shapes. Um, but yes. So this was my video here. I hope you enjoyed this. You found something helpful. I know I'm not the best in explaining things, but hopefully you will make something and you will learn something useful out of my process. Thank you so much. Stay in the studio and be creative. A big thank you to my patrons as well for supporting me. Have a nice week. I will see you soon. Bye.